President Trump's vision of America's role in the world has upended traditional Republican politics. For the most part, his supporters are behind what some see as isolationist and transactional policies. Now the war between Iran and Israel has tested the Trump doctrine and antagonized some of his supporters. CBN's chief political analyst David Brody has more.
5 months into his second term, President Trump has displayed an unorthodox style, to say the least.
The president brings a unique style, and it behooves everybody, whether political friend or political foe, to understand that unique style.
Behnam Ben Taleblu, with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, says to understand the Trump foreign policy, you must be a student of it.
His style is designed to cement. I don't think people are switching sides and changing minds and flipping. I think it is bolstering, hardening, calcifying the battle lines, the views, the values and interests that one can find in the mosaic of America.
In Trump world, that mosaic hasn't worked over the past few decades. In the aftermath of 9/11, for example, the pattern included nation building and forcing freedom into countries not ready or not wanting it.
In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves.
Trump also believes America shouldn't be playing a global moral authority card.
I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace.
And that means being transactional, such as making deals, economic and otherwise, to first give peace a chance.
The goal is not more war. The goal is to stop wars.
Retired Colonel Rob Maness believes it can be worth being unorthodox. Case in point, Trump meeting with Syria's new leader, once considered an al-Qaeda terrorist. He sees playing nice with Syria as unconventional and a potential move to isolate Iran and China, who are interested in its oil fields.
I don't like it one bit that the president decided to meet with him, but if it helps achieve that larger goal of peace through strength and reestablishing that, I have to accept it and move forward with it.
The unorthodox foreign policy began in his first term by engaging in direct diplomacy with North Korea and comparing whose nuclear button was bigger. He then challenged NATO allies to pony up more money. And then there came the Abraham Accords, a uniquely business-first approach to forge stability in the Middle East.
He's much more transactional. The Abraham Accords, I think, are a prime example of that. I think Saudi Arabia, if Trump is able to continue this approach, Saudi Arabia will probably be the next to sign on to the Abraham Accords, the major nation to sign on to that.
For now, though, the current war between Israel and Iran is front and center. Trump's desire to play peacemaker hasn't worked, at least not yet.
It behooves the president certainly to try to work peacefully to resolve the Iranian nuclear crisis, but also to remember, who is the actual enemy here and not be afraid to, just as President Reagan did, to call evil and to call a spade a spade.
It's put the president in a potentially difficult situation with a MAGA base that doesn't want to be drawn into foreign conflicts, and it's a view projected by his vocal vice president.
No more undefined missions. No more open-ended conflicts. We're returning to a strategy grounded in realism and protecting our core national interests.
And while that's been the Trump doctrine, the Israel-Iran war has muddied the waters. Influential voice Tucker Carlson accuses the U.S. of being complicit in the act of war by backing Israel against Iran.
I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire, obviously. Other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency.
Trump brushes off the criticism, saying since he came up with the America First doctrine, he decides what it is and what it is not, saying, quote, for those people who say they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon. And over the weekend, President Trump made that very clear with a surgical strike on the country's key nuclear facilities. And United States military action, by the way, may not stop there.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
He's proven that what really does matter is U.S. power, is U.S. primacy, and a vigorous defense of that will mean a more secure homeland and more secure American interests abroad.
And we're seeing it play out in real time with world events all over the globe. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Thanks, David. For 45 years, Iran has had the goal of destroying and obliterating Israel, and with a bigger goal of hurting the United States. And for decades, American presidents have said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And although Trump has been criticized by many in his own base, he had the guts to actually back it up with muscle. And you heard that retired colonel talk about the larger goals Trump has. And no doubt, China, North Korea, and Russia took note of what the president just did in Iran. And now Trump heads to NATO, where, by the way, Ukraine's President Zelensky plans to meet with President Trump. And for the first time in a while, Zelensky is going to see Trump and other world leaders not have Ukraine top of the list.